War. War never changes. Unless you got mods. Mods can kind of change it up a bit.
You always gotta add those Thomas the Tank Engines.
What?
That's a very famous mod in the Bethesda community.
That is a basic Fallout lore. Piece of Fallout lore.
It started in Skyrim, where they replaced all the dragons with Thomas the Tank Engines. So you just had Thomas just flying. And it would play the theme song, too. Like, do 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 do. I don't know.
Hello and welcome to Cassette Tank, where you can eject wherever you want, but please do not forget to rewind. I'm Ethan.
I'm Anne-Marie.
And I'm Steven.
Yeah, we have Steven on today. It's been a hot minute since we have you on.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's very ironic that we're also talking about a radioactive topic where we're talking about. Last time was Godzilla, radioactive beast, monster. Now, Fallout, and the monsters of war.
Well, you clearly introduced what we're talking about today already.
More likely, nuclearly.
Ooh.
See what I did. See what I... So we watched Fallout.
All 8 episodes.
It's very good.
Yeah, and to give you all a little preface, a little context here, Anne-Marie, I don't believe you played any of the games.
Nope, I had no idea what this was.
Yeah, I never played any of the games, but I had an idea of what Fallout was. I liked the vibe. I'm more of a BioShock guy myself, in all honesty. But, I appreciate good Fallout. I watched my brother play it, like, Fallout 3, I think, like, maybe for 5 minutes, and oh, this is neat, and then went away.
It's a good one. I mean, that's the general gist of that.
Yeah.
5 minutes, the whole...
So you've played Fallout.
Yes. I played Fallout 4, like, throughout, like, the entirety of the story. I played New Vegas halfway through, and I just started a replay of Fallout 3 because of the show.
I have no idea what those are, but sounds cool.
They're entries in the series. So,
okay, there you go.
So let me give you a brief history of the games. So the first one came out in 1999. All right, it was a top-down RPG. It was, you're from Vault 13. You're going out to find a water chip to save your vault. And then Fallout 2 is the original vault dweller who got sent out to find that chip was banished because they were too afraid of him. And then he created Shady Sands, which is a very big point in the show later.
Yeah.
Fallout
no spoilers yet.
Okay. Fallout 3 comes around. That's like the first 3D game. You're going out to find your dad, which a lot of the show takes inspiration from. Mm-hmm. Fallout 4 is the latest in the timeline. I think the show takes place 15 years after that. That one you're going out to find your son, which is a little, tables turned.
My boy.
And then we don't talk about Fallout 76. And then now Fallout New Vegas, which was developed by a different company, is actually still canon, confirmed by Todd Howard.
So. Okay.
It's really interesting though because we were talking about this earlier, but every Fallout game is kind of like its own entry into the series.
Yeah.
And you don't really need to play one to fully to really understand.
Yeah, they're their own encapsulated story, which everybody loves about it because you make your own character in each game, so it really allows you to immerse yourself in the world.
See, that was one of my questions going into this because I never heard of Fallout. I've never played any of the games, so I was going to ask you: does the TV show follow one of the games, or is it its own
it's
entry?
at the very end of the timeline.
Okay.
So Fallout 4 was the most recent game in the timeline. And then it takes place, I think, 8 to 15 years after the events of Fallout 4.
Okay, cool.
Okay. By the way, I noticed that you're wearing a In-N-Out Las Vegas shirt. Is that a reference to New Vegas?
No, I just really like the shirt, but that, maybe I'm just making references I don't even know anymore. That is a lot of my humor. I just pull very deep cut references.
Yeah, so that's basically the rundown of the games.
The game history.
And honestly, the show, it does a really good job, I would say, of being its own thing. It's almost as if it's another addition to the game.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, it felt if the story was put into a game, it would feel right at home. Honestly,
right?
Yeah, fat.
Yeah, and I felt welcome to the franchise just by watching this. Felt welcomed into the world, and
I think it was really, not hand-holdy, but it really welcomed newer fans, which I think was a really smart move because a lot of people, they're not going to invest 100 hours into an RPG. So bringing in new people was a really key part of it. And Bethesda was really smart because they put all the games on sale after the show came out. So then their sales boosted up. So
I was going to ask you, do they have another game in development?
No. So
okay, is this
as of right? So Bethesda is making Elder Scrolls 6 right now, and they've been working on that for who knows how long. It's stuck in development hell.
We're so lucky that Steven plays video games because Ethan and I both don't really play video games.
I mean,
too often.
I'm kind of more of the middle ground.
Yeah.
I play more than Anne-Marie.
I play Mario Kart and Lego games. Let's go.
I feel like Ethan knows like the gaming news, like any of the big stuff. Like, oh hey, a new Fallout show's coming out. I should watch that. Or like, oh hey, the new Fallout game's in development. I should play that.
Well, you guys both got me into this because they both said, Marie, you can watch Fallout. And I'm like, I don't know, it's not really my thing. And then you're like, you can record a podcast for it. And then I binged all 8 episodes in 2 days.
Content is king.
And now I'm here.
Well, are you glad that we told you to do that, though?
Well, so are we going to our review of the show and all that?
Let's go. Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
We already gave
we
already gave a preface. So
this is now Steven's podcast.
Yeah.
Ethan, I'll leave. Bye, guys.
This is my jam. You will not take it from me. This podcast is my sandwich, and I'll lay it all over it.
Listen, whatever Steve does with his sandwiches in his past, like that's up to him. But no, I mean, like I would say that this show is very welcoming to like new audience members, and honestly, I really enjoyed the show so much that I actually was part of that audience that bought like the games on sale. Like I went on the PlayStation Store and I saw Fallout 4 for like $5. And like, you know, it's typically 20, and obviously when it came out it was like 60. So I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna take advantage.
Yeah, if
of
it's
that.
next to nothing, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
You're a huge fan of the show. It's such a smart move by them, I guess.
It's interesting too because like I was worried because I didn't play the games or didn't know anything about the games. I was worried I'm gonna be so confused, and it really does like not hold your hand, but like in a way like be like, oh, this is the world of Fallout.
I think it tells you just enough to enjoy the story.
Yeah.
But if like you want to go, I feel like if you want to go deeper into it, you can like play the games and you can really understand like the lore behind it.
Mm-hmm. So what were your like? Did you enjoy this show? Do you think you would? Okay.
I mean, I think this show was made by the fans, and I think Todd Howard. Like I saw one of the interviews. He said when he came on set, it was like, oh yeah, everyone here already knows the lore of Fallout. So I thought like, oh wow, it must have been the easiest job to direct because they're already fans, so they already know what Fallout is. You know.
Yeah.
And he created Westworld as well?
No. So Jonathan Nolan was the showrunner for
this.
Yeah. Christopher Nolan's brother.
Oh, really?
And, yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah. So,
what a gig.
Yeah, and he did. He was the showrunner for Westworld as well.
Okay.
And you know, Todd Howard, I believe, was an executive producer on the project.
Cool.
You know, making sure like the accuracies and continuity was there, which you know I appreciate. I always love some good continuity.
It's always a good move when you're adapting something.
Avatar, Last Airbender, Percy
well,
Jackson.
they left on their own because they kept fucking up.
Just say. No, but it is good. I feel like Amazon Prime does a really nice job of having like producers of the game or books or whatever onto it too.
Yeah, and I think Jonathan Nolan, I mean, I could be wrong about this, but I believe he was a fan before going, like, not a, you know, hardcore fan, but just kind of like, you know, like, oh, I like this concept, I like this, like, world. And, you know, it kind of, as I was watching, I'm like, dang, you know, I really wish they would have gotten him for a Bioshock show first, or movie, because I'm like, this is, yeah, like, it really does a good job of capturing that tone, especially, like, the 1950s soundtrack, or 60s, and just like, the whole vibe of it just really felt very natural and just very interesting.
Bioshock and Fallout are pretty similar in tone and, in vibe, I gotta say.
You know what? A couple of years ago, like 5 years ago, we were all complaining about video game movies and how bad they were. We don't have to list them off, like Assassin's Creed, like there's so many. But now, video game TV shows are like thriving. You have The Last of Us, you have this. We're not going to talk about Halo, but you have other
Sonic,
stuff.
You know, it's becoming a trilogy.
Well, like, I wonder if it's easier to make a video game into a TV show instead of a movie because you have more time. You have 8 hours compared to 2.
I mean, I would say for things like The Last of Us and Fallout, they do inherently work better as television shows because those are long narratives. With something like
worlds too that you have to kind of dive into the lore. So I think more time would benefit.
Yeah, exactly. And say we have this God of War show that's also coming from Amazon. And I honestly think that would work better as a movie, like a movie trilogy.
Yeah. There's not like really deep lore in the games of God of War.
There is, but
just
not. But
like
say like
compared,
trilogy. Yeah, compared to like a Fallout, there's it's obviously
not the same.
Yeah, smaller, but it just feel like something like that would work better on the big screen. But then after watching Fallout, I'm like, you know what? I like if they're gonna do it with that. I feel like as long as they put enough care, whether it be a movie or a TV show, as long as there's the right care and attention given to a project and the people behind it are doing the best job that they could possibly do, no matter their obstacles, I feel like I'm for that no matter what.
Yeah. If there's love in the project, I think it really shows.
Yeah, exactly. I was hearing that some people were thinking. I can't remember where I read it, but some people were saying that they thought the Fallout show was a better video game adaptation than The Last of Us.
Really? I think honestly The Last of Us was like Oscar worthy. Like that was just like, it's as if they took the game, put it into a machine, and then came out the show. It's like it's an exact.
I can't really compare them. That's the sucky part about not playing video games. You just can't compare them.
You don't even know the whole story.
I don't know.
I think the argument though was that The Last of Us was more so adapting the story that was told for an audience that would rather watch a television show. But while Fallout was kind of more not only just adapting the world, but like creating a new story in addition to what was already established.
I feel like if you're going to adapt it, if you have your own story, you can find your own identity a lot faster because you don't have to adhere to a previous story. Like if you're just in the world, it's much easier to grow as a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited for season 2 that just got announced. So.
Well, we gotta talk about season 1 first.
Okay, well,
so
I just can't wait.
I remember you texting me, and you instantly were like, "No spoilers. We're not gonna go into spoilers yet." But you were like, "The ghoul is the best character."
Oh yeah, Cooper was my favorite character.
Walton Goggins,
he's in everything.
Dude,
Good
he's
for
such
him.
a great actor.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, I can't name a bad role for him.
No, he's really good. Like his acting range is phenomenal.
Dude, it's like Walter Goggins. He's just a god tier actor.
Actually, the 3 main characters, Lucy and Maximus, I really liked them as well. I felt like all 3 of them had a really good interaction.
I like their chemistry together. I think their chemistry was really well.
Yeah, honestly, chemistry and dark comedy, you blend those two, things together, and I think it's just such a great combination.
Yeah. My favorite line is from Maximus when he's like, when he's in the bathrobe and he asks if you see the show you'll know, but I don't think I can say it on the podcast.
No. I think as well, I like the mystery of it too. I think it plays a little bit into it as well with vaults 31, 32, 33. I think the mystery behind it actually really helps it.
I think there was definitely different story threads going on, and I think that kind of helped with because you don't want to exhaust a story thread right after another. You have to kind of interchange with it, and I felt like each story thread made you want to come back to it after you switch. So but then you got invested in the next story thread. Oh, this is so good. I want to learn more. Yeah. And then you get switched again.
Speaking of story threads, I really like the idea of how they implemented the side quest aspect. Oh, where they're like, we gotta get the head, and then suddenly it's well, no, now we gotta do this. And well, come on, we gotta get the head. No, we gotta do this now. This. Sometimes you gotta do a little side quest.
It felt like you were playing a video game.
Exactly. That's honestly the moment that kind of really made me think wow, this is a really good adaptation. Because it not only captures the story themes, but just the play, the gameplay themes too. Yeah. And I'm you know what? Mad respect. That's where I really jumped on board with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think about the monster designs? The Gulper, was it called?
I believe that is from the game.
Yeah.
I don't remember it in Fallout 4. I mean, it has been 6-7 years since I played Fallout 4, but I do think it is part of the game.
I believe it is. I looked up the original design for it and just kind of looked like a lizard. Like
I think it's like a newt or something.
Yeah, something like that. But like in the show, it's more like axolotl. You know?
Yeah. It's I don't know. I thought this is kind of going into like the whole budget of the show, but I think the CGI and like the set design was amazing for it. And
oh my gosh,
I felt like the monsters kind of like it made it feel real. Of like, oh yeah, this is actually a threat. It was really weird when like they were in the mouth of the monster and it was like toes and fingers like trying to grab you as like teeth. That I thought was just disgusting.
You know, it reminded me of the whole show. Kind of reminded me of. Did you ever see Love and Monsters?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that. No.
Well, first of all, Steve, you should watch it. I think you would love it.
Another recommendation.
It's a very good campy show. You love campy.
I love campy. That's why I love Fallout, because it's all camp.
Yeah. But anyway, it has that same... So, Emery, you've seen it. So, you kind of know what I mean, where it's like the monster design and also like the post-apocalyptic world, blending that all together. It's just like, it kind of feels like this is the TV spin-off of Love and Monsters, to be honest.
Yeah, I liked it. I think Amazon doesn't miss. They really do well with their shows, I feel like.
Well, Rings of Power was kind of a mixed reviews, but I really like that show. I feel like they've been doing well with a lot of their shows.
I think with their designs, Amazon doesn't miss.
Oh, yeah, well, if you have the budget of Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
He's like Mr. House from Hollow World. He just keeps bleeding money.
Should we go into spoilers?
I think so.
Well, I mean, I guess before we do that, out of how many...
rads.
What?
How many rads? Because it's
rats?
Rads. Radiation levels.
Oh, I was going to say, like...
how many volts?
Caps.
Oh.
Because...
What's your show?
It's your show.
Okay, we'll do rads.
All right,
wait, are there like 10 levels of radiation?
Well, it's a status effect in the game. So when Cooper was drinking those.
How many charisma points would we give it out of 10?
Okay, there you go.
RPG, let's go.
I give it like a solid 8. Like, it's definitely not my kind of thing, but I did enjoy it, and I think it's visually really cool. And it's cool that it felt like a video game. Like, I, again, never played it, but I was like, oh, this is like playing a video game, like playing Uncharted or something like that. I also really related it back to, like, the first couple seasons of Walking Dead. And I think that's just something, like, that's such a time capsule and something special. So I think this is something special, and I'm really excited to see what they do with season 2.
8 out of 10. I think 8.5 to 9 is probably what I would give it. Maybe leaning more towards 9 out of 10. Minus 1 point because I feel like there was a lot of plot convenience of like them in this open wasteland just so happened to be running into each other again and again. There was some like exposition of like, oh, we have a tracker on it, or like, oh, we're following the radiation trail of the head, and it was a little bit like, all right. It's stretching or stretching the rubber band, as Ethan likes to say.
I love a good rubber band.
And maybe also I felt like Max in the story was like the weakest out of them all, at least in the beginning. As the story went on, I felt like he grew as much more of a like believable character and was more relatable. So 9 out of 10.
9 charisma points.
9 Christmas out.
All right. I would say I'd probably be more in line with Steve. I'd say 9 out of 10. It's definitely not a perfect show. I did have my, it's just honestly the same issue with, that you had, Steve, with the whole, like, maybe there was a little too much convenience at some points. Yeah. Which, I was surprised that kind of went that way at times, was especially with how they handled, like, the inconvenience of putting like an obstacle at one place, like with a side quest.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, I feel like we're going to keep playing into that, and they didn't. It's like, no, we're just going to continue on. But I get sometimes, as a writer, you just got to put in certain points to kind of keep the story going and meet the deadline. Maybe, who knows, if it was like a 24 episode season, there could have been something different.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah, more content, more fun. Jeff Bezos, you have an empty wallet.
Just do it.
Yeah. So... yeah, no, I'd say 9 charisma points out of 10.
There you go.
So, now we're going to get into our spoiler territory. We're leaving the vault. We're going into the spoiler wasteland.
We got our Pip-Boy. We got our rucksack,
We got our phonograph playing in the background.
Let's talk about that ending.
Yeah, but before we do, hey, if you are looking forward to watching it, let us know if you played the games. Let us know if you're excited to watch it. Check it out. After hearing our review, are you interested in seeing it? Let us know in those comments down below. And yeah, here we go. Spoiler time.
That ending though.
I felt like it was like one of the best endings that I've seen in a TV show because the twist was amazing. Like you could see the foreshadowing throughout the show, but then I don't know. For me, it really clicked at the last episode. Like, oh, like they designed it like, oh yeah, this is the realization of, my God, the Vault Tech was the people who dropped the bombs. Crazy, dude, crazy.
Blow my mind.
Blow my mind.
Yeah, no, I mean, I actually love the whole and how they did the iconic line at the end
with Cooper. It's like, wow.
Well, first with the Cooper's wife, war never changes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then he says it himself later on. It just kind of goes to show the different perspectives, but the same line.
I love seeing Cooper's backstory too.
Yeah.
Cooper, was the strongest character.
Yeah.
I loved how he recited the cowboy line from Hank's favorite movie of do you? I don't know what Spanish, but it was like Dios fuerte le famal or something like that. As he was walking through the shadows to face off against Hank at the end, I was like, that was so cool.
Yeah. That. And
he's just a badass dude.
You know what? I forgot about this, but you said that it's the same actor that played Paul Atreides, right? That played Hank.
Oh yeah, Hank, Lucy's dad, is from 1984, the adaptation of Dune. He was Paul.
I love that we bring Dune back into every episode we do now.
This is just the Dune podcast at this point.
It takes place in a wasteland.
That makes sense. You know what? I did recognize him. I'm like, I have no idea from what, but that makes sense now.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's also a really bad guy.
Paul, what are you doing here? No, that's cool.
Step Paul, what are you doing? I don't know.
It is, yeah.
So stupid. I would say that the Hank's character just really kind of, I knew that there was going to be some sort of aspect where it's there's some sort of darker side to him, but I was not really expecting him to be, what was the character's name?
Hank McLean?
Harold, or Henry, yeah, they referred to him as Henry in the flashbacks until the very end.
That was cool.
Yeah, and the de-aging on him was not too bad. It wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
But it was honestly,
it's like Tron de-aging.
The CGI in the TV show wasn't Oscar-worthy, but
they're not going for that.
Yeah,
though.
exactly. It's a TV show. Yeah.
Well, also, I think it plays into the campiness too of it's not perfect, in a way. So
it kind of looks like a Bethesda NPC.
It does though.
Just uncanny valley. Hi, we need a water ship.
Sorry, we just wanted to maintain continuity with the games, with what they looked like. So that lifeless stare, yeah, that was intentional.
Oh, I just think back to the Flash and Ezra Miller CGI.
It's sad to say that this show had better CGI than the Flash.
Yeah, but this show had a really, like you were saying, a really good ending, and that's sometimes really hard to stick. When it comes to adaptations, because it's one, what do you do? Do you do what was already established? Mm-hmm. Two, are you gonna kind of end it where it's like a cliffhanger, but at the same time you just want to make sure it can stand on its own? Or three, just go all out and don't even think about it. And I think this kind of managed to encapsulate all of those.
Yeah, because they also have to set up. Well, they didn't know they were going to get season 2 yet, but they did set it up for a season 2. But even if there wasn't going to be a season 2, I feel like they could do another game after this with these characters, which would be interesting.
I'd be so down for that.
Yeah.
These characters, honestly, I'm invested in them. I want to see them in season 2. I really want to see Hank get his face shot off.
Do you think that they're going to do a start with a new protagonist, kind of working with the ones that we established already, or like a new game?
It's funny you say that, because I was having the same idea, because, well, spoilers at the end, the huge reveal is that Hank was looking over the city of New Vegas, where Mr. House is the person who runs it. Mr. House is the CEO of Robco. He was in the scene earlier, but basically that was like the whole plot of New Vegas, of who has controls of the Hoover Dam and who controls New Vegas, pretty much.
Mm.
But the start of that show is actually just a random guy, like a wastelander, who gets saved by a vault dweller, like a previous vault dweller. So he's given a Pip-Boy and like a change of clothes of his old vault stuff, and then he kind of gets like thrown into this world to figure out what's going on.
Oh, so like you play as the...
I was thinking if there's a second season, it'd be really interesting if like the main character is a courier and is basically interacting with these pre-established characters from the last game or last season.
That'd be interesting because it does follow like the gameplay aspect of it. So,
yeah, it's definitely made by the fans. It's such an easy ask, but it's so hard to get for any game adaptation. Just get fans on the show. That's it.
Guys, invite Steven in. He can solve your problems. He'll do Fallout for you. Fallout Season 2.
No, dude, they got it taken care of, man. After the Season 1, I'm like,
trust them.
I'm so trusting in Season 2. If Season 2 falls off, I'm very mad, but like, I don't know. I bet money on it.
If it falls out.
It falls out, yeah.
Stop.
You can't see it, but I'm like locking eyes with Steve intensely right now.
I need to make a whole thing of just puns that Ethan has made over the past year.
Dude, what about all... I know you guys kind of didn't recognize all the references throughout the show, but dude, there was a crap ton of references from the game.
You know what? One that I feel like I didn't know the exact... specifics of it, but one that I felt like, okay, that's an Easter egg and I know it, is the code to type in like at the end.
That's exactly from Fallout 4.
Is that like the date of like when they first
Oh, that was the release date of the first game, yes.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought, because it's like
October 10th, 1997, I think.
Yeah, I'm like 90, I'm like, that looks like a date,
But when Lucy's little brother was like hacking into the terminals, it was literally the screen you see when you're hacking into terminals in the game. I was like, dude, they pay attention to the details.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
That they have like fans or play fan service to people too. So.
I really like how when they look at the Pip-Boy, it actually points out like their stats kind of.
Oh yeah.
There's like a little layout. I'm like, okay, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if they were gonna do that. Before I saw the show, they did release like a little preview of it with the one scene where the main three characters first meet, and I'm like, wow, I don't really know too much about Fallout, but this really feels like it kind of captures what I've been missing out on. Like someone viewing a Vault Dweller as someone that's like from a completely different like isolated world,
almost like an alien.
Yeah, exactly. And then them, which by the way, the woman that played what's her name, Lucy?
Lucy,
yeah, like phenomenal job. Really
and,
capturing that innocence of just someone that's been in a vault for so long. Like honestly, I kind of want a shirt that says "Okie dokie." Yeah, I mean it's such a fun show, and I'm so excited for season 2, and it gets me more hyped now for God of War. To be like,
is it being done by Amazon as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Trust in Amazon. Trust them.
And they also have like Cory Barlog, I believe. One of the heads that did the first game.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm more excited about that now then.
Yeah, that is going to be on board as an executive producer. So we'll see. I mean, but this definitely gives me more confidence in the Amazon team to get something like this done. And honestly, I feel like the Rings of Power adaptation was kind of a, let's
it's like a test.
Yeah,
I feel like,
exactly.
For this, yeah.
Dang, just shows like this just get me really excited for, again, not only God of War, but what else is to come for the future of video game adaptations, and what you can do with them. Like, I think this is a perfect example of something where you don't have to adapt the exact story that happened in the game. With God of War, I feel like that's something you would have to do that for. And like Last of Us, that makes sense. But with something like Fallout, or say maybe even a BioShock, or other ones, like there's so many games, like a Minecraft even that's coming out.
I think it's a movie, right?
Yeah.
But would it be TV?
Probably starring Chris Pratt.
No, Jack Black. Close.
Jack Black. Okay, it's one of the two.
Who's a respected gamer in the industry.
No.
Yeah, he has a gaming YouTube
Jack Black?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Jablinski Games.
Yeah, Jablinski Games. It was really popular back in the day, I think. when he first started playing. But then he like took a break.
Well, now he's doing like band stuff, I think.
Oh yeah.
Jeff,
He's always been music.
Yeah.
School of Rock?
You know what? Let's bring it back from School of Rock. Let's go.
It's a really underrated movie, I guess.
You should make a School of Rock video game and then make an adaptation of that video game.
There we go.
IP incestuous stuff going on there.
just pull a Mean Girls where it's a movie musical. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Maria was watching that actually recently, and I was walking by, looking at the TV. I was like, God, I already hate Mean Girls, but I hate this even more. it's like it's just a formula for all the things I hate: musicals, Mean Girls, and just like really mean people.
Speaking of musicals, wouldn't you say like the Fallout show kind of has like a almost musical aspect to it, with how like important and imperative the music is that kind of helps set the tone? I
feel like the comedy helps. It's kind of like a very similar comedy for like a comedic musical, I would say. But I know you're a sound guy. When throughout the entire show, I felt like they were cherry picking when to play. Like the right songs, like when Lucy was picking up the NCR flag and they were playing the theme of like the original games. So like, I was like, whoa, that's a fan moment right there.
Got excited.
Give you little chills.
It gave you chills.
Radioactive chills.
Yeah.
Oh.
I do. Okay, I love this show, but I do feel like there are some critical points. Like they don't explain why the Maldiver lady was like a religious figure. Like in the vault. Yeah. So that was kind of like a plot thread that wasn't resolved.
I would actually contradict that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they kind of established that she was like this leader of like a borderline kind of communist. I mean, obviously found out it's not really communism with what they were doing. It's a little baby communism.
She wanted to give energy to everybody for free. That's the most communist thing I could hear.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what I mean, like during the McCarthy, like that kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, it just kind of goes to show she was like a prevalent leader in that aspect, and kind of like how someone could almost Anne-Marie Doontime like kind of show like a messianic figure and what they can turn into. Yeah. So like
maybe she needed to become that kind of religious figure in order to get power.
Or like maybe it was unintentional. Maybe it was just something that happened.
Well, season 2 can always like pick up stuff too.
That's true. Yeah, which I like. That's why I only minus 1 point, because I know there is
minus 1 point. Oh man.
Yeah, but I think. Any other thoughts on our time with Fallout here?
No, we're okie dokie.
We're okie dokie.
It's more than okie dokie. It was a fun time. It was a blast, and it makes me want to play the game. I think that.
Steven, put the controller down. We're not done yet with the podcast.
Wait, I'll put it on mute. So it's not...
Turn it off.
But I think that's kind of what you want to have a goal as for like an adaptation of like it makes the people who watch it want to try out more of the medium.
Yeah, I'd have to say that it really kind of does evangelize people. We just saw the numbers with like the game sales after the show aired.
It was a critical success, man.
Yeah, it's a critical hit.
Steven's gonna go play all 4 of them right now.
Oh my gosh, he's booting up all 3 of his monitors. Each
one
has a different game.
Shut it down!
We're trying to turn off one, it's like a Hydra. He boots up another one to take its place.
Oh man.
No, but hey, we liked Fallout, I could say, universally here at the Cassette Take podcast. So hey, did you guys watch Fallout? What do you think of it? What was your favorite part of it? Did you think it was a great adaptation? Are you like us when you think that it's going to be something that shows more promise as to what's to come with video game adaptations?
Is it the turning point for video game adaptations too?
Yeah, is it the turning point of video game adaptations as well?
Up.
I mean, we've had a little bit with the Mario Brothers movie, which was a success. We got the Sonic ones that are doing well. I mean, seriously.
Keanu Reeves as...
We've got
next time.
We've got we've made a lot of progress since Assassin's Creed.
There we go.
But I'm really excited. I'm personally really excited. I'm excited to hear what you guys think as well. Let us know your takes on our tapes here. So this has been the Cassette Take podcast. Please, thank you for joining us. We hope you haven't ejected this far into the podcast, but if you had, please don't forget to rewind. I've been Ethan.
I'm Marie.
And I'm Steven.
Thanks again, Steven.
No worries, it was a joy.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Steven. And war. War never changes, but make sure you have a damn good mod to make it work.
Okie dokie.
Take care, guys.